when you're a fucking vegetable, Frank.
Where I put it?
The film begins by introducing Adrian Frank, a man imprisoned for stealing $2 million. He shares a prison cell with another inmate, Louis Morel, who is serving time for the rape of a minor. One evening, 3 other inmates enter their cell with the intention of tormenting Louis due to his sex crime conviction. They ask Adrian to step outside so they can freely assault Louis. Adrian complies and stands outside the door, seemingly aware that the 3 had bribed a guard to access the cell. As Adrian hears Louis's pain cries from the assault, he reaches his limit and decides to intervene, launching himself at the attackers. A violent altercation follows, and Adrian is nearly choked to death. Fortunately, prison guards arrive in time to break up the fight. The following day, both Adrian and Louis receive visits from their wives. Adrian's wife, Anna, presses him about the whereabouts of the stolen money, but Adrian refuses to divulge the secret, still unable to fully trust her. Anna has brought their daughter, longing to see her father. At first, Adrian is upset about his daughter seeing him behind bars, but his love for her overwhelms him, and he cradles her tenderly. During a routine prison event, Adrian is suddenly attacked by another inmate armed with a screwdriver. The assailant demands to know where Adrian hid the stolen money, planning to claim it once released. When Adrian refuses to talk, the attacker drives the tool into his ear, knocking him unconscious. Adrian is rushed to the prison infirmary, where he remains comatose for 3 days. When he wakes, Louis is by his side and informs him that he's now a free man, as all charges have been dismissed. Grateful for Adrian's earlier help, Louis gives him his phone number and offers assistance outside the prison. Adrian then asks Louis to meet his wife and reveals that the stolen money is buried in his late father's grave. Before leaving, Louis collects strands of Adrian's hair from a comb, hinting at sinister intentions. Shortly after, a former police commander named Manuel visits Adrian. He wants to know what Adrian learned about Louis while they were cellmates. Adrian responds that Louis seemed harmless and unremarkable, but Manuel warns otherwise. According to him, Louis is a cunning predator, a serial rapist and killer who manipulates others into believing he's innocent. Manuel once tried to save one of Louis's victims from a fire, but failed. Despite his efforts, Louis was never prosecuted due to lack of evidence, and his wife often helps him hunt victims and secure his release. Hearing this, Adrian becomes alarmed, especially since he had asked Louis to contact his wife and daughter. Meanwhile, a police officer named Claire is conducting an undercover sting operation against a drug dealer. Disguised as a prostitute, she identifies the suspect and orders her team to ambush. A firefight breaks out, but Claire neutralizes the suspect before anyone is harmed. Back in prison, Adrian is increasingly on edge, haunted by thoughts of his family's safety. He is soon threatened again by the corrupt warden and 3 inmates seeking his stolen fortune. A violent confrontation breaks out, but Adrian overpowers them and escapes, disguising himself as a guard. Outside, Louis and his wife are casually shopping, scouting for a new victim. When they see news of Adrian's escape, Louis's wife panics, fearing exposure. Louis, however, remains confident that Adrian won't be a threat. Unbeknownst to Adrian, they've kidnapped his daughter. Police Commander Luciana assigns Claire and her team to track down Adrian. Though reluctant, her team is still handling the drug case. Claire agrees under pressure. Adrian returns to his apartment in search of Anna and his daughter, only to find it empty. Believing Anna took their child to safety, he leaves a letter stating he's looking for them. Claire's team, having tracked him to the apartment, arrives shortly after. Claire finds the fresh letter and begins a thorough search. She eventually finds Adrian, but he escapes by leaping from a window onto a passing train. That evening, Adrian visits his father's grave to retrieve the hidden money, only to discover it's gone, and Anna's corpse lies in its place. Realizing Louis stole the money and murdered his wife, Adrian is devastated. He calls Lewis, who coldly informs him that his daughter is alive, for now. Lewis warns Adrian not to look for them or he might harm her. After hanging up, Lewis plants Adrian's DNA in the clothes of a previously murdered victim, framing him. He places the body at Adrian's old hideout. Police later discover the hideout and the bodies of two burned teenage girls, one being the daughter of a former officer named Thomas. Distraught, Thomas believes Adrian is the killer. While most officers agree, Claire is uncertain. Adrian's record only shows a robbery conviction, and he had a chance to harm her during their encounter but didn't. Adrian, desperate, seeks out Manuel to learn more about Lewis. Though retired, Manuel has continued investigating Lewis unofficially. He had once recovered two bodies he suspected were Lewis's victims, but the DNA didn't match. Adrian shares the number Lewis gave him, and Manuel sneaks into a police station to trace it. Meanwhile, police sirens approach Manuel's home, alerting Adrian that his location is compromised. He flees. At one point, Adrian takes Claire hostage to tell her his side of the story. He insists he's innocent and Lewis is the real monster. Before police can intervene, Adrian escapes. Manuel rescues him but is shot during the escape. Before dying, Manuel hands Adrian a note with Lewis's address. Now on the run, Adrian drives to the location in a stolen vehicle. The next morning, he surveils a local pharmacy, knowing Lewis needs a specific medication. Elsewhere, Claire investigates Lewis's records and begins to believe Adrian. She recalls that he had spared her life, proof he wasn't a cold-blooded killer. Meanwhile, Lewis and his wife, with Adrian's daughter, search a marketplace for their next victim. They spot a young girl and lure her into their car under the guise of needing directions to a clinic. Although hesitant, the girl agrees after seeing the child, thinking it's safe. Once inside, they pass the clinic, and the girl realizes she's being kidnapped. She fights back and flees into a forest. Despite her efforts, Lewis catches and kills her. The next day, Adrian sees Lewis leaving the pharmacy and tails him to a remote hilltop villa. There, Adrian sneaks in and finds his daughter alive. Claire, who has reached the same conclusion, also arrives at the villa. Just as Adrian and his daughter attempt to escape, Lewis and his wife ambush them with rifles. Claire intervenes but is shot by Lewis. Adrian escapes with his daughter and hides her in the hills. And killed his daughter. Claire, wounded but alive, subdues Lewis's wife and rushes after Adrian. Lewis catches up first and shoots Adrian, who barely survives by clinging to a cliff edge. As Lewis prepares to finish him, Claire fatally shoots him. Claire and Luciana try to help Adrian, but Thomas appears and shoots him in revenge, mistakenly believing Adrian killed his daughter. The police later search the river near the cliff. They find Lewis's body but not Adrian's. 3 months pass. Claire visits Adrian's daughter, now living in an orphanage. The film closes with the girl receiving a heartfelt letter containing a sketch of a family, a father, mother, and daughter, drawn by Adrian.